Hello, hello. Is this working now? Is this working? Does this work now? You guys let me know, please. Is this working? Is this actually work? All right, we're here. How's everyone doing? Welcome behind the Fern and Iron Hammer. How you guys doing tonight? Unexpected episode of the King Leo Show, but I had to do it, guys, because I am having to cancel every show after Wednesday through Friday because my handlers have called me. I have to go to Colombia. I have to go make sure that the elections go the way we need them to go. All right. So I'm going to be down there. No shows later in the week, unfortunately, just today and tomorrow. However, I will be keeping you guys posted. I might even shoot some stuff down there, show you the real Colombia. Let's see if we can get those elections rigged the right way, right? But yeah, so I thought it'd be appropriate to do an extra show this week on Monday. It's not an emergency stream, but this is some great stuff. I think that it's fascinating how the Iran war has panned out. A lot of stuff up in the air at the moment. But more importantly, the effects of Israel and its reputation over the past couple days has finally broken something pretty big here, which is the relationship between Piers Morgan and Ben Shapiro, which sounds like slop. It may sound like slop, but Piers Morgan is always ahead of the curve. This is why he's a very important figure here. And we need to talk about this because the reality is that our audio is still good. Perfect. Yeah, the reality is that this breakup here, this public call out, is showing that at least the population of the United States is not happy with Israel, probably that of the UK as well. I think it's in the 40% people who approve of Israel in the United States at this point. That does not mean anything in terms of policy, by the way. With the SAVE Act, we're going to see how that pans out, but I don't think it really means much. But Ben Shapiro here, odd man out, which is pretty odd to see. This is a guy that Piers Morgan, I'll give you the background more later, but idolized, saw him as the future for his media company, and now just a public call out. So fascinating stuff. We're going to get into all of that. How you doing, Spring? How you doing, Audio Vibes? But firstly, let's do our plugs as usual. Yeah, Monday streams. All right, plugs as usual. Here we have the Discord, which you guys can see. If you actually get into the paid tier, which you get through Patreon, which is $5 or $20 a month, that gets you the King Leo Movie Club. I did Top Gun last week, man, which kind of predicted this whole damn thing. You can check it out on YouTube, the sample. But if you notice today, let me put this here. I put out this video, The Truman Show Ends Here, which is our first channel explainer. And we're going to make more of those. That was at the suggestion of 112 or Jesse in the Discord. So you guys can get a lot of input if you decide to join the Patreon in terms of the direction of the channel. And I hope you enjoyed it. You guys should check this video out. I think it'll clarify a lot of things for people who are not exactly sure what the channel is all about. Even people that know what the channel is about might benefit from it. Took some work, actually. It was not a video that I just shot randomly out of the blue. I had to write a little bit for it and all this. And I have a great video coming out tomorrow to further talk about Professor Chiang. And we have the What Would a Postmodernist Do or What Would a Piers Morgan Do parody bracelet available at the link in the description. All these links are in the description. There is a free tier of the Discord, of course. Please join and join us in there. All right, everyone. We have to get to what's going on. We have some updates. We have to talk about Zohran Mamdani and the assassination attempt. Well, I'm not really sure exactly how that went there. We're just going to, everything is very incomplete, which is exactly what we expect. But as usual, we have to start with Schizo Watch It because this country's going nuts. All right, perfect. So we are here. Firstly, I want to start here with James Carville. This is one of my least favorite people in politics, man. He used to be insightful back in the day, back when he was with Bill Clinton and all this. But nowadays, James Carville was already being ridiculous before the Trump election, but now he's really lost his mind. And some people might say, oh, he's from the South, he's from Louisiana, he talks like this. No, this is just showing that one hand feeds the other here, dude. If the top Democratic strategist in the world right now probably is James Carville, the guy who got Bill Clinton elected, is acting this stupidly publicly. If you're still a Democrat, you might want to reconsider because you are getting grifted. You are getting harvested for your energy.
Look, you fat fuck Trump, if you listen to this, you listen good, because what I'm getting ready to say is what a lot of people in this country speak for, who I speak for. And I speak for a lot of fucking people. You hear me, you fat asshole? This is what we believe. You're right. I got Trump derangement syndrome. I hate the motherfucker. And you know what? I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to get better. I want to get worse. I want to hate him more. I pray to God in heaven, God reign the righteous reign of Trump derangement syndrome. Pray for me, Lord. I'm your vessel on this earth. Pray for the people that listen to this. We want more. We want to hate the son of a bitch so much that we can't see straight.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
To borrow some Zoomer woman speak, it's giving low T. It's giving angry old man yells at cloud. It's giving closeted gay. Dude, what is this? This is one of the smartest people in politics, all right? Or maybe that whole thing was a fluke. Maybe the 90s was a total fluke. This is the guy who came up with "It's the economy, stupid," talking about how dude, people use these words. Skeletor, yeah, very appropriate, Spring. Like, I have Trump derangement syndrome, and wearing it as a badge of honor, you are describing that you have a degenerated, underdeveloped brain at this point. Maybe not underdeveloped, overdeveloped. Perhaps it's just an age thing. I don't understand who this is supposed to bring in. I don't understand who this is supposed to attract. This is just, dude, low testosterone is ruling this country at this point, man. And I'm not asking for a jacked guy or anything like that, because a lot of those guys, they're all on roids and all this, but maybe a couple rounds of TRT or something. But this guy has been embarrassing for at least he's not dressing like a clown. But if you're still a Democrat, you still buy this shit, man. You still buy this guy actually cares, or he's trying to accomplish something. What kind of political strategist would speak like this publicly? I fucking hate him. Okay, well then you're not an analyst. You are not a strategist. You are now a jihadist. You have become a jihadist just like the Never Trumpers, and you are never going to win. You are never going to win. This guy I told Kamala Harris not to do this, not to do that. You are on a mission. This is literally a mission to drive America crazy. I hope Trump derangement syndrome spreads. Actually, I hope no derangement syndrome spreads. I hope we can all have a great time. I hope we can. This is all peace, love, and understanding over here at this channel. James Carville over here, he's trying to get you to really go crazy.
Say the N word. Go on.
Well, I mean, what does he want from you? He wants you to walk around deranged and angry just as he is. Well, I'm sorry, sir. My testosterone levels are normal, so I'm not going to join you there. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Fox Business, which had this slip up during the peak of the oil crisis. Oil has gone back down today into the 80s. A lot of people expected into the 150s, 200s, but fortunately for us, it did not. Let's watch here what Fox had to say when it looked like oil was heading to $150 a barrel.
And until people can wrap their heads around that, I just think about every time this happens and people start, the gas prices. My dad pulls out the ration coupon book from World War II and tells me how my granddaddy's Chevy dealership just went poof overnight. Didn't get it back. Lost his business. It just went goodbye because all of the auto manufacturing was redirected toward wartime manufacturing. So let's pull our trousers up, shall we? Taylor.
Suck it up, Buttercup. Pull yourself up by the jock strap. If the oil prices are high, if gas gets expensive, fertilizer, meaning food, if plastic gets expensive, carbon fiber, cars, cameras, phones, everything doubles, triples in price. This is just like World War II. It's World War II all over again. People had it way what. This stolen valor is really something. It's, dude, I don't know what happened here. She's not even a boomer, but there is vicarious greatest generation stuff that's happening in this country. And you've lived it, obviously, when people are like, oh, what do they say? They say, during the Depression, you weren't alive during the Depression. You were not alive. You don't know what that is. I've read about rationing during World War II because I'm retarded. So I read about that kind of stuff. NPR has a great article about it. I don't think Americans at this point have the same fortitude to do price controls like we did in World War II. There was a black market. There was not digital surveillance everywhere. And Fox Business just putting this out there, we were wondering last week if Fox was really just propagandizing or if some of the stuff they were saying was actually true. But when you're talking like this, I don't even know what the purpose is. The purpose is designed. This has to be a slip up. Is this designed to make people angry? Is this designed to make them lose their minds? Because how is this a positive or good, optimistic message? But, and we'll talk about it another day, dude. The Sayback seems to be giving people a lot of leeway. Spring says, love the tie, better than the lame light blue macrame rag. We still have the blue tie, sir, but we got the new ties because of the 1500. We have 5 new ties. One of them is in the new video for tomorrow. So we have different ties. This one here, this is an ampersand collection tie. Also one of these flat ties, one of my favorite type of tie, a knit tie, the best one, very aristocratic. Let's continue. I wanted to show you here more derangement because we usually go after the libs here. Not usually, but it's been skewing more this way. But let me show you here Matt Schlapp, who had this to say on Piers Morgan last week in regards to the school that was bombed in Iran that killed 180 young girls, I believe. He was invited to debate. Matt Schlapp is very important. I met this guy once. He's been accused of sexual harassment a multitude of times, and he's the head of CPAC, the most notable and important conservative coalition in the country. Not coalition, a conference. He is a kingmaker in the Republican Party, okay? And they're talking about this here, which at this point, it seems like it was the United States. But again, fog of war episode, man. We're not going to know it for months. Let's see what he had to say about this.
Preferred to wait, and now it turns out
this is Matt Schlapp over here on the far right.
It was friendly fire from a Kuwaiti pilot who mistook them for Iranians. So I just think we need to get to facts before you declare
Piers, I understand
that this
what
was
you're
definitely
saying.
an Israeli missile.
Piers, even if it was an Iranian missile that was fired in response to the attack from Israel and the United States, right? Even if it was an Iranian missile, those girls would still be alive today if the United States and Israel had not launched the attack. So you are right. We don't know who launched the missile, but we know that if the U.S. and Israel had not attacked a country that poses no serious threat to them, Israel has hundreds of nuclear weapons, America has thousands, that those girls would be alive.
Okay, but I would also say to that it is indisputable that it is indisputable to me. Well, hang on, Matt.
In case you missed that, Matt Schlapp said they'd be alive in a burqa, and it was followed here. They'd be alive in a burqa, so they're better off being dead than being alive in a burqa. This is really something, man. But and putting aside Matt Schlapp, who's obviously like a radical supporter of anything that hurts Iran, I have to say, my producer's the one who brought up the question, and I think is true. There is this obsession with school that really does not make sense anymore in our day and age that I think a lot of the baby boomer generation has. You'll hear this a lot from especially liberal boomers, but also all kinds of boomers. They keep saying this thing like education, that's the way forward. Education is going to save us. Education is how you ascend. When in reality, we know that this is not the case, right? You're not going to learn anything in the 1st through 12th grade that's going to help you ascend in this society. Why did they still have school during the war? I'm just wondering who made that decision. I'm not excusing the United States if they did this, but I'm just wondering, why would you do school during the middle of a war? But this is, I think a lot of us are familiar with this rhetoric, man. Like people that are like, oh, you need to go to school, you need to go to college. And you're, okay, maybe, but we're literally in a war right now. We're being bombed by Israel and the United States, speaking like as an Iranian plebeian. Why do the girls need to go to school? This is like Zohran with the snow day. Like, why are you still sending them to school? What is the They're in a war, dude. They're in a war. What is the point of? I just don't get it. Why would you send them to school during the war? It's the big war. Why are we going to school? That would be my question. I remember when COVID started, they weren't canceling classes at university where I was at in the first week. And I was like, and we had a lot of Chinese students. Don't mean this in a racist way. I mean it like people used to go back and forth a lot with China. We had just gotten back from winter break and I was like, why are we still going here if this virus is going to kill everyone? You know, so why are they in school? How you doing, France? How you doing, 112? I want one of those ties. Thank you, sir. I might leak where I got it from in the Discord. Let's continue. I wanted to show you here Scott Bessent, the master of spin, talking about, in case you didn't know, we lost 2.5 million jobs last month. Okay? We lost 2.5 million jobs last month. 2.5 million jobs.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
2.5 million. That's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of jobs, man. You are obsolete.
You are obsolete.
Okay? And Scott Bessent, our Treasury Secretary, the genius, had this to say about this job loss. Let's watch.
A discussion we were having about jobs earlier, and you know the new jobs, the number has come down, the average per month. But you have pointed out again and again, there's less government jobs being added, or in general with this administration, because of the overriding effort to privatize the economy. Is 4.4% with what you're trying to do, is that unemployment rate as low as you would expect?
No, Joe, and again, so there are several components here. One is the government saw a large net contraction in 2025, and we saw private sector jobs created. The other is the effect of 2.5 million illegal aliens leaving the workforce. So the monthly jobs number does not need to be as high for that. And we are at the lowest level as a percent of the total workforce for government jobs since 1966. We are seeing a technology-driven productivity boom. But the other way to get productivity going, Joe, is to have the private sector create the job growth, not the government. As President Trump says, he could create 2 million jobs anytime he wanted, but they would all be government jobs.
I don't think the reason that we lost 2.5 million jobs is because of illegals. Let's actually grok it. I already did because but let me see here. Do illegals count in employment numbers? Dude. Yeah, the exact count isn't known because surveys don't ask about legal status. So even if we knew, we wouldn't know. We lost 2.5 million jobs, and our Treasury Secretary is just telling us they're all illegals. Dude, I know some people who have lost jobs recently. They're all illegal. All right. Hey, if you lost your job, you might be an illegal alien. How about that? Let's continue. We have here, this is Michael Tracy who reposted this, and I wanted to show this. I know he's been getting a lot of heat lately, but I think he's providing a valuable service, okay? This is a new ad that a Democratic super PAC has released. And I know a lot of people here, guys, like, you know, they're invested in the Epstein story, but I just want you to watch this and really consider how far we've come from QAnon getting you banned on the internet, Pizzagate getting you banned in real life if you mentioned it, to this.
They want you to forget. They want you to forget about the biggest scandal in U.S. history. They want you to forget about all the crimes, the victims, the little girls. Crimes made by higher-ups, millionaires, by sick and twisted men drunk on power. Men who know there's no line drawn when money speaks. They want you to forget that Donald Trump is a pedophile, the biggest pedophile. A man who lured in women and underage girls for Jeffrey Epstein through Mar-a-Lago. That he was an accessory, a tool of Epstein's secrecy. But Trump was not alone. Not this time. He had friends. Many friends. Republicans know they can't hide from this. They can't turn their backs on this evil. But those at the top still want this buried. All their trafficking, all their sex crimes. They want to cover up every page, every name, every secret. It's the biggest pedophile ring in modern history. And this time, it starts at the top.
Okay, listen, man, whether you put a lot of stock in this Epstein stuff or not, there's some irony here where I'm really confused here. When Pizzagate came out, it was about Bill Clinton, Huma Abedin, Anthony Weiner, Hillary Clinton. And I don't know if it's just short memory or the Baudrillardian world we're in. Check in, Baudrillardians. Do Democrats not see that this was their side as well? But even further than that, I am just astounded at the... You are telling half this country that the president, quote, is the biggest pedophile. I don't even know. Does that refer to body mass? What does that refer to? I didn't know there were scales there's levels to this shit. I didn't know. Because he's running the largest. I don't think this is healthy for the country, dude. Like, because they know. I don't understand this in the United States. If this were in a Latin American country, this would be a call to action. This would be a call to the military to do a coup. Because the president, I think of Schneider in Paraguay, okay? He was a dictator that was a pedophile, supposedly. Who knows? And I think he died in prison. I don't remember. But you are literally calling for the military to come and administer justice. But you're putting this out for public consumption. And I'm astounded at this, dude. We are spiraling as a country, dude. Like, this is getting worse by the day. It's really something. I don't like to watch this stuff, dude. People are obsessed with this pedophile accusation. And look, I don't like pedophiles. You know what? I'm going to say something very brave here. I, King Leo, am not a fan of pedophiles. I think pedophiles are very bad. I don't think that they should even be alive. Pedophiles are bad. They're not good. They are not good hombres. They are bad people. Bad people. So what is the point of this? I just don't get it. You're these freaks, man. Like, if you are obsessed with this, how can you think about this all day? And I think people are thinking about pedophilia all day. I think that reveals more about you than anyone else, man. That's a sick freak that thinks about pedophiles all day.
Disgusting and gross. I mean, he should just be... I don't like ugly, stupid freaks.
That's a freak that thinks about pedophiles all day, dude. Because you're thinking about what they're doing by consequence. It's gross. It's gross. I don't like to think about, dude, you know how there was that meme about how men think about the Roman Empire? That's not me, okay? But I think about, at this point, I've cleaned my mind of this crap, right? But I used to think a lot. You know what I think about? I think about 9/11. At least once a month. I think about it. I'm dude, that was crazy. But that's once a month. If I thought about it every day, that would be horrible. But this is thinking about children being this is crazy, man. It's crazy. Let's continue. Let's look over here again at more. This was some Trump edit over here because of the recent conference down here in South Florida with the other leaders of Latin America for anti-narco trafficking operations.
Don't play games with this president's in office because it's not going to turn out well.
American dominance in the Western Hemisphere
will never be questioned again.
Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this.
He effed around, and he found out.
The Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a lot. They now call it the Donroe Doctrine.
I think, look, this is a okay ad or whatever, right? It's fine, I guess. But my bigger question here is this. We've seen copyright infringement from the Trump White House a lot recently. But now I'm starting to think about the music choice. Like, what are we infringing? And this is an iconic Coolio song. Rest in peace, Coolio. I was sad to see you go a few years back. Gangsta's Paradise. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and I realize that there's nothing left. This is not a song about being ascendant. This is a song about a thug who realizes he chose a thug life. And there's nothing left for him but to be a thug. And look, if the United States is going to be thuggish, I'm all for, listen, man. I'm Latino. I love a thug. A thug is cool. But this is end of the line music. You know, this is like, I'm bleeding out. This is like if you used, what's the, not Rolling Stones, man. Fucking Axl Rose. What's his band? Guns N' Roses song. What is the song, man, about the sheriff? It's a good song, man. Fuck, dude. What is that song called? It's like the only Guns N' Roses song. And I like 5 of them. Civil War is pretty good. What is this song called, man? Can't shoot this guy. How does that song even go? What is that Guns N' Roses? Dude, it's a Bob Dylan cover. What is that song called? Guns N' Roses. Bob Dylan cover. What is that song? Knock, knock, knocking on heaven. You're right. It's this is, I don't know. This is the appropriate song for the country. There is gangster rap that is ascendant. That is like, we're looking up. We're looking to expand the operation. We're trying to go legit, man. We're trying to get this cash rolling. But this one is, it's the end of the line, man. I'm not sure we want to be calling on this. Knocking on it. How you doing, YC? How you doing, Steph? So, it's, I'm not sure, All right, let's continue. I wanted to show you here in the latest of Mobutu territory. We had here Kai Trump, the president's lovely granddaughter, who took the Secret Service to Erewhon.
They really laid out the red carpet for you.
This is a crazy genre, dude. Bro, the last time that I saw something like this, because I joke around with Mobutu, right? But in all seriousness, the daughter of the dictator of Angola behaves like this. She's friends with the Kardashians. She's friends with like all sorts of famous people. Also, the son of the dictator of Equatorial Guinea. I think he hired, not Akon, a female. Fuck, dude. He hired some woman singer to go on a yacht with her. This is really so. Look, I get it. She's a kid, right? She's like in her 20s. But Trump's got to tell, dude, you can't be flaunting it like this. We live in hell.
We live in hell. We live in the gut.
Oh, we can't be flaunting it like this, dude. This is a little much. It's a little much. I get it, but come on, you. If I were 21 and my dad were the president, I'd be doing this kind of shit all the time. Dude, I would go full Bush kids. I'd be out there getting conviction. I'd go full Hunter Biden. I'd have Republicans sharing pictures of my cock. Like they did, because they did that. It was disgusting. they'd be like, King Leo's got all the hookers. His cock is on Twitter. What is going on? I'd be, yeah, fuck you. You know, but that's me. But you know, you can't. I would expect my father to, hey man, we gotta be a little noblesse oblige here. We can't really be flaunting it, you know. Let's continue, man. Wanted to show you this. This is Tim Walz. This is Gavin. Dude, Gavin keeps doing this. I don't know what this is. I'm starting to speculate it's like a Weaver maneuver, but it's also inspired by the Trump dance, because it's like a Trump dance, but right here. Here he's talking with Tim Walz about masculinity, all right? Masculinity, the very masculine tampon Tim.
But I think this notion of toxicity and masculinity needs to be separated. And I think it's been conflated. And I think we're going to have to work on that a little bit. And I think there is a crisis.
I think some of us scare them. I think I scare them a little bit why they spend so much time on it. No, I'm serious, because I can fix a truck. They know I'm not bullshitting on this. Yeah. I'm not putting this in people's grill. I don't know if my identity is not hunting. My identity is not football coaching. My identity is not, a beard and a truck.
But I think this.
No, dude, I think you're a bit of a Lindsey Graham, man. Who's afraid of Tim Walz? Who's afraid? This, dude, what is it about low testosterone and older age? I'm sure you've noticed it where people start getting whiny aggressive. They behave like some sort of movie where they start to adopt the vernacular of like Jack Reacher and Kiefer Sutherland, like that kind of, you wouldn't want to be caught alone with me. This is a very, very odd thing. I'm not afraid of, dude, this is 1984 here. You will say Tim Walz is scary. I'm not scared of Tim Walz, man. I'm not scared of him. Maybe if I were, I don't even know. Who would be scared of Tim Walz? You're walking alone at night. You're a young woman. Are you scared of Tim Walz? I'm not crossing the street. In fact, I might activate some Latino and think of how to rob him. No, I'm kidding. Obviously not. I am one of the good Venezuelans. I'm not Trinidad Aragua, okay? Wouldn't rob the old Tim Walz. I'm not going to rob him. It's a joke. It's a scripted show. All right. Or is no. It's okay. But I wouldn't be scared of him. I wouldn't be scared of Tim Walz. How you doing, I guess I would be scared of his shooters, right? Like his school shooters, because he's friends with them. But of him, no, I would not be scared. And finally, for Schizo Watch, I wanted to show you guys this moment here. Beta. This is Donald Trump here, talking about the wonderful Castilian language at the summit for all of the countries in Trump Doral last week.
And in the months ahead, and it's so good that we got to know so many of you. I mean, we're so many, and I'd love to get to your countries at some point. Marco loves going to your countries. He's always at one of these countries. He likes your countries the best. Okay, where are you? I'm in Chile. Oh, good. How's Chile?
Chile Mansion. Let's go.
Really doing good. He likes it. He feels very calm. We all like him, right? It helps. He's got a language. He's got a language advantage over me, because I'm not learning your damn language. I don't have time. I was okay with languages, but I'm not going to spend time learning your language. That much I won't do. Just give me a good interpreter. Interpreter, very important. And I know if somebody's good. I may not speak the language, but I know I had an interpreter recently that wasn't good, talking to a very strong person from a different part of the world. And I could tell, even though I don't speak the language, I could tell the interpreter was not good. When you go, when I give a long, flowing, beautiful sentence, and in this case, it was a woman, and she gave it in about 1/4 the time. I said, well, their language may be efficient, but it's not that efficient. And I could also tell when I have great interpreters. Interpreters are...
This is like full stand-up Trump. This is 2016 Trump. I found it endearing. People were saying that this was racist. I don't think any Latino expected Donald Trump to learn Spanish, to whip out the Spanish. I don't think anyone expected him to do that. It's nice to know that Marco Rubio likes Latin America. I feel like that's probably why a lot of people feel they're getting a fair shake down there. The guy who treated Latin America the best from the U.S., by the way, besides Huey Long and Hayes, was FDR gets the credit, unfortunately, but it was Herbert Hoover that started the good neighbor policy. And I'm surprised that Marco Rubio liked Chile, because I went to Chile with a Cuban friend once. And we were walking around there like, where are you from? Cuba. They were like, Cuba, I love Fidel Castro. And they were, what? I don't like Fidel Castro. So Chile has a lot of communists. We have a lot of communists in Chile, all right? We also have a lot of not communists. We have a bit of a lefty movement. So, interesting stuff. It's good to know that this isn't, I feel it's the first time in a long time that Latin America, at least they know they can speak to the guy in Spanish and try to get something out of him. So which is kind of comforting. Maybe they should make a baby Secretary of State role for Latin America at this point. I think a lot of Latin American countries would appreciate that. I had everything says Trump, Rubio loves some big booty Latinas. No big booty Latinas in Chile, my friend, unless they're Venezuelan. That's not going to happen in Chile. It's not going to happen. How you doing, John Scone? Well, we're just talking about him in Latin America, sir. All right, let's get to the next segment here, because me and my dude, I've never been more accused of being Jewish than on my Professor Jiang video. Do I look Jewish? Because I'm not Jewish, but my drip is round. You know, I get accused of taking the $7,000. I get accused of being Jewish. Like, why are they accusing me? I'm an analysis channel. We don't even take sides here. And I'm being accused of being Jewish. Not that there would be anything wrong with that. But they keep saying, you know, very, 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 a lot of attacks about King Leo being Jewish. How could, literally, why would I lie about that? Why would I lie about being Jewish? Do you not think if I were Jewish, I'd be calling Bibi Netanyahu right now? Why am I being... I'm a Gentile, okay? I'm a postmodern Catholic. As far as I know, my last name is Basque. There is some converso, possibly, like all Latinos have. I don't think I look Jewish. Not to say, I'm not stereotyping, nothing against them. But I don't have the Abby Shapiro knockers or any. Like, why am I being accused of it? Whatever. The Gentiles, man, they're going nuts, bro. Me and my Gentiles out here. Spring says, is Chile split north and south, east and west, or red and green? Chile is, man, it's an odd split, man, because there's kind of like three regions of Chile, which would be Patagonia, the center, and the desert, the Atacama. But politically, you know, you're going to get a lot more liberalism, obviously, in the urban centers, but it's actually pretty split. You'll find people everywhere that have diverse opinions. Not that they matter. You're voting in a Chilean election. Like, that fucking matters, you know. I can vote in Chilean elections. Have I ever done that? No, I don't even vote in the American ones, you know. But it's an interesting country. And Chileans are very strange people. I have some of the Chilean autism. We're very strange people. So it's a country worth visiting, but it's kind of expensive. I had everything says you knew disagreeing with CCP propagandists would make you. Dude, I'm releasing a follow-up tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. If you're from Miami, you're Jew. When did that start happening? When people started saying Miamians are Jewish. Dude, you realize that they live in Miami Beach mostly? Some in Coral Gables. I'm from Kendall. Yes, I was born in the city of Miami, but not Miami Beach. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the whole city You realize we have like Mexicans and Cubans and Nicaraguans, and I've never met a Nicaraguan Jew in my life. Lots of evangelicals, though. All right. Me and my Gentiles are going insane. Let's play us in here.
The people are retarded.
We have to start here, man. We are spreading our schizophrenia to the whales. It's not fair. Dude, the whales cannot catch a damn break. These whales, the Soviet Union kills all of them. Whale genocide. Then we start putting them in aquariums, getting tortured to death. They start killing a couple trainers, taking a little whale revenge. Who wouldn't want to? You're in an aquarium. Then they start being let go, but that doesn't work out either. They get rejected by the pod. And now they are starting to imitate human language. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Pretty soon, these whales are going to be talking about how Tucker Carlson's latest episode is about the giant bones in the Smithsonian. So let's watch the whales adopt our language.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
That's actually what that's what the Tucker Carlson show sounds like to me. That's it. No, Dave Smith. This is what Dave Smith sounds like. This whale is whale Dave Smith.
Amy. Amy. Hello. 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 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Bye-bye.
You know, pretty soon these whales are going to be arguing about Jeffrey Epstein. They're going to be, you used to swim by that island, bitch. I know you knew. That's what's going to happen to them. These whales are going to start fighting over human politics and go insane and then kill each other. That's what's going to happen with these whales. These whales are going to be made crazy with the introduction of human language. Oh, you're right. They're dolphins. They're not whales. That's true. Killer whale. Yeah. Thank you, John. No, you're actually right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Everything says killer whales are evolving at a rapid rate. At this point, they'll be able to use Sumerian technology. Don't even say that, dude. Don't get the whales to listen to Candace Owens. Please don't. Please don't. I don't want to hear a whale talk to me about Charlie Kirk. Please don't. Or this dolphin, you know? Let's continue. Let's look at this gentleman over here. Fed up with our gas price spike.
How the fuck can we take America back when these cocksuckers don't even fucking support us? Fuck these motherfuckers.
Now, I'm all in favor of removing political propaganda from your car. I'm all in favor of it, dude. If there's one redeeming thing about HOAs is they don't allow political signs. That's a very, very good policy. If I were dictator of America, I'd make it illegal. How about that? I'd make it illegal. You're caught with a political sign, you're going to jail. Straight up, no parole. You're going to jail. But I'm just, this level of nihilism here, man. I'm at a loss here. I'm at a loss. You know, there's Americans, they don't anymore at least have, you know, one of my favorite people is Malcolm X. Because Malcolm X is a guy who admitted he was wrong. That's very rare. A guy who admits he's wrong. You read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and he's like, I was wrong about this shit. Now I'm on this other shit. But it's not schizophrenic because he gives you his way of thinking. But the American consumer, the TikTok plebeian, they can only say, how can we take America back when they don't support us? You voted for it. You felt enough to donate to the campaign. Unless that's bootleg. You should have to keep this up. I want to, dude, stick with your horse. If you're in a horse race, you stick with your horse. In my opinion. Maybe I'm a little bit too loyal. I'm a loyal guy. But I don't like this. I'm a little angry. It strikes me as very feminine behavior, actually. Very feminine. Let's continue. I want to show you this because this is.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
Let's check in on our retired veterans during the war in Iran.
Me and the devil walking side by side. Me and the devil walking side by side. And I'm gonna see my man until I get satisfied.
This is real goy maxing, bro. For real. Like, absolutely, man.
I always wonder how dumb this goyim sometimes can be.
Listen, man, I'm a goy myself. I'm a Gentile. When you are trying on your military uniform to see if you have kept off the pounds so you could re-enlist, and you're like 50, this level of performative. Whatever happened to the strong, silent type? The Gary Cooper? What has happened to our country? Our veterans are TikTok plebeians. They are posting themselves, checking if they are too fat to re-enlist in the army. This is, dude, like this country, the Protestant work ethic, the slave mind.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
I mean, do these people think you're 50, man? You're doing a cycle of TRT every other week. You got to keep it up. You haven't shot a gun. No, you probably shoot a gun every once in a while. Probably go to the range. What the fuck do you think they're going to use you for? What? This is levels of performative that were previously thought impossible. But I guess this is what happens when you have a country of hard men.
I like to get a bunch of men together.
Okay.
Men that are the hardest of the hard. And I want to be with these men.
I Hate Everything says, wouldn't that mean that Dave Smith would be your favorite person too? Why, sir? Why? Because he's consistent? Yeah, consistent. Dave Smith. We're going to talk a little bit about him today. I want to show you this. How you doing, Mr. Elu? We are reaching the lowest point of Latino-Black relations in this country I've ever seen. We have never really gotten along, I'll be honest with you. The Mexicans, that's a different story, but the rest of the Latinos have never really gotten along with the Black Americans because there's always been tension about labor. However, now we are reaching levels that are ridiculous. Okay, let's look at this Black gentleman here complain.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Yeah, I'm on Crenshaw and Stocker. You got the Mexicans set up tacos right over here. See, when all the Black people setting up barbecue joints up and down Crenshaw and all the other stuff, they was harassing all the Black people that was setting up barbecue joints over here and shit. But they allowed the Mexicans set up freely up and down our community. This part of erasure that's going on in our community and stuff. And we definitely need to fight to stand up against this right over here. Because we can't go to East LA, Southgate, Hunter Park, and El Zuzan Monte. And you think the Hispanics gonna allow Black people to set up a barbecue joint or soul food place in their communities, though? This ain't gonna happen, though. So we definitely stand up against this shit.
Dude, when you're standing up against the Mexican taco shop, when anyone expresses envy at the Mexican taco shop, the people who get up early to prepare all this meat so that they can sell it in cash, so they can make a little bit of money. People who are the bottom of the barrel. I mean, they're probably making some money, some of them, but this is not. When they have the Gentiles fighting over who gets to open a roadside taco stand, we have a problem. We have a problem here, man. We can't be fighting. I'm not going to envy the tire shop owner. I'm not going to envy the black guy who owns a barbecue joint. Envy, if it's allowed, should be reserved for Jamie Dimon or Mark Zuckerberg or something. When they have us envying each other for a taco stand on the side of the road, we have a problem here, folks. We really do. This, not to get Marxist here, not to get Marxist, but this is levels of class division from the top we have never seen before. What, are we going to start envying homeless people too? Well, I mean, I envy them. They're in their own fucking world. They're having a great time, but you're envying a working stiff. Hit the oil rig. Let's continue. I wanted to show you this, man. I've seen several of these TikToks. This is 6 minutes long. We're not going to watch the whole thing. Several in this style. And you need to watch this to understand the revealed preference here of what's going on here. This is really something. That's enough. AI is being used to make cuck porn.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
But not even cuck porn. At least that would make more sense. To make cuck storyline fantasies? AI is being used in the Pixar style to show you how your baby is going to come out a different race because your wife goes to the gym. Is this why my fucking water bill is up? So we could do this. There are multitudes of examples of this, man. There is one of a banana and a strawberry, and the strawberry cheats on him with an orange, and the baby comes out as an orange or something. Who's watching this? 91,000 likes, 7.9 million views. Look at the revealed preference here. Not to get libertarian. We're not even making AI porn. We're making AI nightmares. Just, oh yeah, you're going to get cucked by your wife. Someone get Sam Altman on the phone. Get Sam Altman on the phone. Let's watch over here, dude. I can't. What is this cuck thing? Why are people obsessed with cuckery on the internet? It's really something. Let's watch here the latest financial transactions being done by my people in this case, by the Latinos.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Bad credit, no credit, 1,000 reposts, it doesn't matter. We're probably gonna get you right.
All right, congratulations.
I think that at this point, we need the Soviet Union. We need full-on Stalinism, man. No, you shouldn't be allowed to buy the Dodge Charger. No, we're taking that freedom away from you. Sorry. No, you don't get to put $5,400 down and walk away with a $2,000 a month car payment. You don't get to do it. Do you know how to make people live? How would you know? The market can decide. No, I know. And I know that this should be illegal. This should not be legal. This should be illegal. This should be the opposite of sanctioned. This should be unsanctioned. This should be illegal. They'll just go to a loan shark. All right, I'd like to see them try. You know what? I'm willing to take that risk. Why don't we wait and see if they do? This is, you don't get to make financial decisions anymore. Spring says, I just rewatched Moscow on the Hudson. Total cuckery, but Maria's breasts were amazing. I have not seen that one, sir. I'm going to look that up after the show. Thank you, sir. I'm always in line to watch any Soviet stuff. I watched the Czechist recently. That was pretty good. We can skip this. I think let's watch this one here, man. This one's a good one. Let's watch this one. Let's watch this young white woman here. I love white people, okay?
This woman just said, if the trauma of slavery lives in the epigenetics of black people, she's a black woman, then doesn't the evil of slave owning live in the epigenetics of white people? And I would argue yes. My family, my heritage, I am Irish Mexican and a little bit of Germanic, but I also learned at my family reunion last year with our second cousins. Our oldest relative came over on the Mayflower and had a slave with him. Now, my grandmother married my grandpa, her being some mud of whiteness, and my grandfather being deep native Mexican. Her father was vindictively racist. His name was also Camillus, which is the most comically evil name I've ever heard. But she always said...
By the way, the largest homeless organization in the United States is called the Camillus House.
Is that her father's mother was the actual devil, and that we are breeding the evil out of us. And I actually feel it. I feel like a vindictive cruelty in my own mouth sometimes. I know words I could use to dismantle people, and I've learned to stop that impulse, but it only got easier when I stopped hating myself and falling in love with life and falling in love with the beauty of nature. But I think a lot of people, because they refuse to acknowledge that cruelty innate to their genetic makeup, they'll never escape it, and they will never make the conscious effort to breed it out of them. And obviously, like, I'm not saying you have to marry a person of color as a white person to, like, clean up the bloodline and the genetics. I'm saying you have to do a lot of deep and intentional work on yourself. You have to find that vein of malice and cut it at the root and suture it shut. And you just have to be aware of yourself.
Look, I'm Lysenko build. I'm an epigenetics guy. You know, I believe in epigenetics. I do. I think epigenetics is probably true. That's why I keep my cortisol low. I don't want to pass that on, right? Okay. I'm sure black people, you know, it's a high cortisol situation to be in segregation, Jim Crow, slavery. And I'm sure that cortisol gets passed on somehow a little bit, you know? Maybe you become a high cortisol person. However, even that's not true. Black people have like high testosterone, so whatever. Maybe you're just a fucking bitch. Did you ever consider that? This is, I don't know who this is designed for. Listen, man, I love the white people. I love the black people. I love the Hispanic people. I love the Asians. I love the Eskimos. I love the Australians. I love the uncontacted tribes. I think that I thought this strain of wokeness was done, but it seems like it's not. And you know what? Whether it's, let's say this is stupid rationale or something. If this is the only way we can get dumb people that are just cruel to stop being cruel, maybe there's other things you can tailor to people. But this is this is, I don't know. This sounds weird. Like, you're not telling people to breed outside of their group, which is fine. You do whatever you want, man. You're an individual at the end of the day. But someone's got to get on the case here. Maybe you're just a fucking bitch, right? Maybe some people are just fucking assholes, and it doesn't have to do with slavery. I don't really have any slave owners in my family that I'm aware of. My people ended slavery. How about that? But whatever. I'm sure that I've met people who descend from slave owners. So hang on. Is this why Michelle Obama's a bitch? Because she was like, she had slave owner in her? What are we talking about? What the hell are we talking about? Thought woke was dead. Okay. And it does carry a tinge of eugenics in here too, man. This is just incredibly odd. Incredible. Native Mexican, brother, the Mexicans, the Aztecs were enslaving everyone. Why do you think they lost? What the hell are you talking about? This level of like cartoony race theory.
Say the N word, go on.
Where like, the Latinos are noble savages or something. What are we doing? Ridiculous. Oh, they took this away. I would have liked to see that. All right, everyone, let's get to the stories. How about that? Ridiculous. All right. Let's start with Zohran. All right, Zohran Mamdani.
Are you a communist?
No, I am not. I don't think that we should have billionaires. No, I call myself a democratic socialist. No, I have many critiques of capitalism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. What I'm focused on is making the city affordable for everyone, not to win an ideological argument.
Listen, as I repeatedly said, I'm disappointed in Zohran Mamdani. I want to see the free bus. I want to see cool shit. Promised a lot of cool shit. But in reality, he hasn't really done much, right? He hasn't really done anything. Maybe you disagree. I don't think he's really done anything. Okay? But they tried to kill him. We saw last week this gentleman who people told me is a public agitator called Jake Lang. Showed up to people mourning the loss of the Ayatollah. Which maybe it's a little uncouth. I don't know. It's a spiritual leader and a political leader. I don't know. If the Pope died, it'd be sad. If he died doing like a war, you'd still have to mourn him as a Catholic, right? I don't know. I'm not a Shia Muslim, okay? If you want, go to the Shia Muslim temple and ask them, okay? I'm just here, okay? I'm not a theologist, okay? I'm not. Whatever. But they tried to kill him, apparently. There was an attack outside Gracie Mansion where some guy who claimed ISIS, I don't know if he claimed he was ISIS or I'm not sure exactly what he was saying. Okay, to me, it just strikes me as some like drugged up loser threw a bomb that didn't even work. So that shows you are so retarded. I would never tell you to do something like that. That's not good. You shouldn't have sandbags on City Hall. But with the internet, you're retarded. Like you can't even do that. This is a mental retard. All right. He threw a bomb outside of the governor's man. Let's watch here. Let's watch what happened. This is a protest that Jake Lang is doing against Muslims.
Support the white liberal women! They're killing you! Whoa! 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 What the fuck? That was a fucking bomb! Was it? Somebody threw a fucking bomb, bro! That's a nail bomb. Shit. What the fuck?
I didn't sign up for this.
Holy fuck! Yeah, that was a nail bomb.
Yo,
Jay!
Why are they not running? Why are they not running more? Dude, Americans think they live in a movie. PSA. If you suspect someone threw a bomb at you and it didn't go off, keep running. Keep running. It's shrapnel. It can hit you. Did you design the bomb? You don't know how it works. Why?
Jesus is king, and he made it that nail bomb didn't go off. Jesus is king. Thank you, Lord God. Thank you, Lord God. What just happened? Thank you, Lord God. They threw a nail bomb at us and it didn't explode because Jesus is still on the throne of my life. Thank you, Jesus.
They just threw another one. Get the goat. Someone's got to get the goat.
Oh, the goat!
Someone's got to get the goat. Will take care of it. Don't worry. It wasn't a bomb.
So this whole situation is a bunch of idiots. This is just a bunch of idiots. Claiming ISIS in the big 2026 is crazy. You guys lost really badly. They killed all of you. I guess one of them became a president, but whatever. What? This is crazy. This is insane.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
No one should be throwing bombs outside of the governor's mansion and leave it to ISIS claimer. But for those that aren't aware, ISIS was defeated not largely, but like a significant part by Iran. Iran, the IRGC, was fighting ISIS side by side with the Iraqi army. Okay? I love that. Super Bajalardi, and the bomb didn't look hyper real, so he didn't run away like he would in a video. Dude, you're right. If the bomb looked like a cartoon bomb, like it had the fuse, and it was going, he would probably run away. If it looked like a Tom and Jerry, that's crazy. But look, that's crazy, dude. I mean, that's so true. How you doing, Ephra? Listen. The Sunni radicals are trying to throw bombs outside of the Shia mayor's office to kill, like, agitators for white supremacy. I don't even know what Jake Lang believes, dude. Zohran said it's white supremacy. I don't know what it is. They're saying that Muslims have sex with goats. That's why that goat is there. I don't know what you're protesting, dude. What are you doing? This is retarded. This literally makes no... Whatever. This whole situation is stupid. Okay? And Zohran came out and gave a statement because he could have died. He could have died. Leave it to... let's see what he had to say.
On Saturday, a protest was held outside Gracie Mansion, where I live with my wife, Rama. Neither of us were home at the time. This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy entitled Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City. I'm the first Muslim mayor of our city. Anti-Muslim bigotry is nothing new to me, nor is it anything new for the 1 million or so Muslim New Yorkers who know this city as our home. While I found this protest appalling, I will not waver in my belief that it should be allowed to happen. Ours is a free society where the right to peaceful protest is sacred. It does not belong only to those we agree with. It belongs to everyone. I will defend that right every day that I am mayor, even when those protesting say things that I abhor.
Pretty good statement. It's pretty crazy that the latest guy who's a free speech warrior in our country is Zohran Mamdani. Because even President Trump got pushed back for the new anti-Semitism hate speech laws, right? Or was it a law? It was a resolution. I don't remember what the fuck it was. Does it even matter? Do you actually get arrested for this stuff? You don't get arrested for this. You get fired if you're like a professor or something. Which is probably bad. I don't know. I hope all the college professors get fired. I don't care how they get fired. Every college professor should be fired except for like the really good ones. There should only be one college professor, and it should be Jordan Peterson, and he should be perpetually crying. Okay? That would bring down student debt a lot. Good statement. However, again, where is the free bus? Like, where is the free bus? Don't make me play it. Where is the joy? I think the apple's rotten right to the core. What are we doing? And this is the guy who did it, who came out here and gave what I'm told. I didn't know this. This is the ISIS salute, apparently. I don't want to get censored on YouTube, but this doesn't look like it. This is the ISIS salute. I want one baguette, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you a member of ISIS, sir? No, I was just signaling number one. Okay, good. Because that's the This country's insane. All right, let's see this young man who should be buried under the prison come out here.
The parents of one of the alleged ISIS-loving teens who tried to detonate an IED near Gracie Mansion owns a gorgeous $2.25 million home, a sign they seized the American dream after arriving from Afghanistan decades ago, the Post has learned. Alleged bomber Ibrahim Kayumi's family home spans 5,800 square feet with 6 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms in scenic Newtown, Pennsylvania, records show. Police say that Kayumi, who is 19 years old, and his friend Amir Balat, who is 18, traveled from their Bucks County enclave to attend a counter-protest against right-wing nut Jake Lang's anti-Muslim protest outside the mayor's residence.
We're gonna make sure Mamdani knows that he's not welcome in New York City.
The pair allegedly hurled homemade bombs packed with a volatile explosive favored by international terrorists, known as Mother of Satan, sources have said. Dramatic viral video captured the moment Balat threw an IED as he came up behind a speaker addressing a small crowd outside the Upper East Side mansion. In the panic and confusion, Walter Masterson, a comedian and actor who had been speaking to the group, stops talking as photographers fight their way through to capture pictures of the alleged improvised explosive device.
Why? Get away from the bomb. What is this isn't Mission Impossible. This is real life. A nail bomb will kill you. Why?
Device. Luckily, no injuries were reported. The duo were arrested following the alleged attempted attack. An NYPD commissioner, Jessica Tisch, said the act was being investigated as an act of terrorism. Balat, whose parents hailed from Turkey and became naturalized U.S. citizens in 2017, where they live in an idyllic 3,200 square foot house worth $653,000, flashed a
How are you a Turkish ISIS supporter? That doesn't even make sense. I guess if you really hate Kurdish people, but Turkish extremists are Turkic nationalist gray wolves. They want to unite the Turkic people from Xinjiang to Constantinople to Istanbul. Dude, Erdogan is sending his most retarded Turks to our country. Erdogan has sent us Hassan and this guy. This is who Erdogan is sending.
Sikh salute honoring ISIS as he was led in shadow.
Yeah, no, Turkey does support ISIS, Mystery, of course, against the Kurds, right? But if you're in America and you're Turkish and you're going to be an extremist, why would you support ISIS? Don't you support, like, the gray wolves? What is going on?
From a police precinct Monday. He was seen holding up his right index finger, a universal salute for the terror group, and grinning at the press while being led by a cop and an FBI agent. ISIS fighters have often used the index finger gesture in their propaganda. The gesture is also used by many Muslims to demonstrate their commitment to monotheism. Law enforcement sources told the Post that one of 2 suspects used the Arabic expression Allahu Akbar, God is great, following their police interview, and one of them has asked for their lawyer.
What is your dude? This is why this country is ridiculous.
Used
They threw a bomb. What do we have to litigate here? They threw a bomb, and it's designed to kill people. This is how record scratch this picture. Hi, it's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. You're a rich Turkish guy. Your dad probably sells rugs or something. How is this useful to it? This is just retarded. This is the dumbest situation I've seen in a long time. This is going to be forgotten because of how stupid it is. And it's fucking, dude, these Turkish people, man. And I love the Turkish people. All right, I love Turkey. I love Istanbul. But these Turks over here, dude, what are they doing? What are they doing? You want to do this so badly, why don't you go to Cyprus or something and go fight for the rest of it? Why don't you go and do it over there? What you're trying to kill the Shia Muslim mayor of New York. I just don't get it. I don't get whatever, man. This is retarded. This is too. All right, let's move on. All right, let's move on to the main stories. All right, not the main story, but one of the main stories. Let's move on to Iran, Cuba, and Venezuela. The Iran war. What's going on? We're going to look into it. Trump gave, I think, 3 speeches today where we could assume he tacoed and then it didn't seem like he tacoed. These are not in order of speeches because it's not worth doing that. I rather compare them. I don't know what the hell he's doing. I really don't understand what's going on with this Iran war. And neither do you. Don't front. All right. I saw Academic Agent, who I love, like taking a victory lap today, which I guess he deserves. But again, when this war started, I said Iran was not going to win this war. You know who won here was Bibi Netanyahu, as usual. He's just a genius. Yeah, you won. You really showed him. You have petroleum installations destroyed, uranium enrichment sent back. You destroyed Saudi Arabia, Aramco's facilities, Kuwait, Dubai. You made the region uninhabitable. So now Persia and the Arabs are weak and Israel is there. Fully intact. Oh, you got a missile through Tel Aviv. Yeah, you really showed them, man. You really showed them. They killed the Ayatollah. Like a couple of them, actually. So I don't think they won, but whatever, putting that aside. Let's continue here. I want to start here with these memes that they've made about the war because this is what AI is for now. This one's a great one.
They said, Donald, don't drop the track. I said, why not? Tremendous. It's going to be the biggest hit in the history of music.
Baby's on the line crying, Donald, it's a mess.
I said, relax, baby. Put the stress to rest. Sleepy Joe is napping. He's totally lost. I've got the biggest army regardless the cost. They built a bunker. Deep, dark, and grand. I sent a little gift. Now it's just sand.
You had the chance.
I mean, you did. Why didn't you take the deal, buddy?
You walked away. Come and they don't cry.
Dead like a dog, beautiful dog.
Now he's dead, died like a dog, beautiful dog.
I like dogs.
Strongest in the history.
And I like B-2 bombers and BB. They said
the White House should repost this. This is the best summary of the conflict I've seen so far. And they made this one. This is one of the speeches today. We're going to watch the unedited clip. But again, the Gangsta's Paradise line, I realize there's nothing left.
No, I don't want to brag. But, you know, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing. No other president. The things I'm doing, nobody else was going to do it. They say it all the time, sir, could you do this? You're the only one can do it.
The shiesty, bro. The shiesty. All right, let's look at the speeches. So firstly, well, actually, we have some propaganda here. Let's watch over here. This is the F-22.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like, here comes the, y'all don't really want it like, here comes the, y'all don't really want it like.
So I salute the F-22. That's absolutely true. Before we get to that, let's catch up with the chat here. Efra says, how you doing, Adrian? It seems that Iran's strategy is destroying all the signals interference, radars, command centers. I think no one is going to win this. It's pure chaos. Right, Efra, but that by default, that's an Israeli win. That's a huge Israeli win. Israel can front all they want about these Abraham Accords and we're getting along with the Arabs. Israel wants the Arabs immiserated. They want the Arabs weak. And they want the Persians weak. And they want the United States in line. That's all they want. All right? And they're getting the greatest deal. They probably set Aramco back minimum 5 years with this. They've set back foreign direct investment for a long time. All that money that was going to Dubai. I mean, unless you're not risk averse at all, I would not. Maybe, I don't know. I like to live a little dangerously, but moving your whole operation over to Dubai now seems a little bit scary, you know. But you're saying that Russia could be the actual winner. All right. We'll see, because I want to know if the war is actually going to work out, because we have to see this now. And Adrian says you could have been part of the Dubai Abu Dhabi elites influencer class. You missed out. I could have been out there with Andrew Tate. Could have been out there having a great time with Andrew Tate. What color is you, Bugai? No. Dubai, I've never had an interest in going. I had an opportunity to go. And I don't know. Dubai always felt so fake to me. It never really made a lot of sense to me. But I don't know. All right. Let's see here. Firstly, this speech here. And this is just the bragging that we saw edited over here, the real one.
No, I don't want to brag. But, you know, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing.
My understanding, by the way, I see here people mentioning that Russian oil will be unsanctioned. My understanding so far is that Besant, what he's planning on doing is to stop the second-degree sanctions that are being put on India and its purchasing of Russian oil. So Russia's kind of getting unsanctioned, but not really. And it really is complicated here. I'm really confused as to what's going to happen because, okay, the Europeans were already buying this oil. I'm sure the Americans were getting some of it as well. The oil supply is not increasing unless Russia really steps up the refinery capability, which is going to be difficult during the war. So I'm just, there's no new oil production on the market, and the Indians were already selling it. So it seems like everything comes out the same economically. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm down to be wrong. I'm not going to pretend here to know everything about this. The fog of war. But here he is tacoing, which was interesting to see. This was the taco. People were calling this the taco.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared
Well, I think
for
you could
this war
say
to
it
last
both.
for?
It's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone. So, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But
I don't even know what he's saying. Are we going to go further? Are we not going to go further? I mean, he is right that the sand pads have been knocked out. The Navy, it seems like it's knocked out. Who knows? We'll know in a few months. But this is the moment for China to step up if they want to be a real country and say, hey, we're gonna come in there and we're gonna rebuild with you. But I don't know if China's gonna be overstretched, given. One Belt, One Road is not panning out because of American intervention in Latin America. And I'm sure that the African stuff is teetering. The Sri Lankan port is probably fine. The Pakistani highway is probably fine. But I think it would take China to say, hey, we're going to come in there and help Iran with some long-term loans if we get bases there or something. Which I'm sure they already have. But all right, Trump, that's really something there. All right. Here he is in the other speech saying that it was a short-term excursion.
It's better, stronger, and our country is doing really well. At a level that nobody thought. We took a little excursion because we felt we had to do that to get rid of some evil.
and I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. How good is our military, right? Amazing. How good? Short-term. Short-term. Thank you. They're great. You know,
we're kind of getting to like SpongeBob and Patrick, you know, running around the burning city. Like, we saved the city, Patrick. I get it was a short-term excursion, but we kind of got the Arabs completely fucked up. And we depend on them for a lot of stuff. Let me ask you really quick, because I saw Mr. Elu said this. What projects in OBOR have gone to Iran? I think I remember what you're saying, dude. Yeah, the Chinese have been buying buying influence is what I've seen, but they're buying politicians too, Ephra. I believe that. Iran has been integrated. Yeah, they're part of One Belt One Road since 2018. What did they do? Transit land, BRI, direct freight rail services from China to Iran, from Xi'an via Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan. Okay, smart. It's kind of like Pakistan. Electrification and upgrades, so that's wiped out. Of Iranian railways. High-speed railway, that's fucking wiped out. I think this is very bad for the project. I don't know how much more debt China can take on doing this, especially given that Latin America is a loss. All right. Interesting. Thank you, Mr. Elu. I wasn't aware of that. Here he says, again, this is where people would say he's tacoing that we won the war already.
We've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough. We go forward more determined than ever to achieve ultimate victory.
So we haven't won enough. Okay. And this is in regards to the schoolgirls that were hit. I'm not going to confidently say it was the United States yet, but it seems like it was. But I don't think we'll know for a long time. How do they know this? These forensic guys that are like, it was a Tomahawk. How do you know that? Is it by the blast size? Does no other missile have that same kind of size or something? I wonder how they figure that out. I'd love to know how they do that. Let's watch here.
American missile strike and a Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I haven't seen it, and I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries, you know that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more, but whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic, it's sold to other countries, but that's being investigated right now.
How are we even investigating that? See, John says there's video, but how would we even determine this? The FBI can't go into Iran. Because the Soleimani strike was an American missile. It's that one that has knives in it. It's fucking crazy. It explodes, chops you up. But all right, it seems like this was the United States. I saw a lot of people mad about this, saying, oh, the United States is doing something evil. I'm here like, I'm sorry, you're telling me here for the first time? What? But, all right. So, could have been another country, is what Trump is saying. Israel doesn't have Tomahawks. I don't think the Arabs have them either. Yes, we'll see. All right. And here he's bragging about sinking the Navy, which is probably an achievement that I assume is real.
The Navy is gone. It's all lying at the bottom of the ocean. 46 ships. Can you believe it? In fact, I got a little upset with our people. I said, what quality of ship? Excellent, sir. Top of the line. I said, why did we just capture the ship? We could have used it. Why did we sink them? They said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, they like sinking them better. They say it's safer to sink them. I guess it's probably true. But think.
Okay. We wanted to capture it, but ended up sinking. This war is the fakest war ever, man. I thought the fakest war was that Azerbaijan war that happened a few years ago with Armenia, because that was this is the fakest war. Dude, does anyone know what happened here? Because I have no idea. I assume like they killed the Ayatollah. We know that for sure. This war. I don't understand what happened here at all. The Indians have tomahawks as Iron Hammer, but would the Indians really fire on Iran? I guess in theory they could have sold it to a third party or something. This is like Baudrillard super vindicated, man. Like there is no Iran war. There never was a Iran war. There will never be. Yeah, I saw that guy, Mr. Elu. You didn't even credit Baudrillard for that. If you're talking about the guy with the glasses. Dude, this was the. It's like gas got a little bit more expensive and now it's going down again. And by the way, the gas going down, some people were saying it was the G7, saying that they're going to open reserves up. But my producer and I were talking about it, and he talked about it with Gemini, and Gemini was saying that it's actually because the Fed is involved. And I had read that the Fed was going to buy futures, but my producer is even more skeptical. He thinks that the Fed is literally controlling the futures market now. I'm not one to doubt him. I wouldn't doubt that. And everything says, Trump, I've sunk your battleship. Yeah, I guess this is a war in the battleship sense, right? It was like that Rihanna movie or the game, right? And this is the same question here, but I like the context that Tracy gave it, where he said, like, is Trump talking about nation building? How can we nation build without boots on the ground? Who's going to be in charge of Iran when this is all? This is where I'm really confused. The IRGC leadership, I assume a lot of them are dead. A couple Ayatollahs have been killed. Did the IRGC and the Ayatollahs send out traitors to die too? Like, you don't know if they use this as some sort of political cleansing or a purge to test the resolve of their people. Hell, this is crazy. All right. That's Iran. All right, that's Iran. I wish I had more updates for you. Okay. We have to talk about Cuba, which is in the news. Cuba, if you haven't been on Twitter, and it's even on Twitter, it's hard to see. There have been a lot of protests in Cuba, man, a lot. And at night, which is really something because they're actually protests of desperation. They're using the classic Latino, but I see other people do it now too. The cacerolazo, where is when you hit pans together. That actually is a Chilean invention, by the way. It was invented during the Allende years when there was meat and milk shortages. So shout out to Chile for that. But they're protesting pretty heavy because more than half the island doesn't have power. Petroleum is not getting in. Venezuela's cut off. China's not sending anything. Where are they going to get oil from? There are talks of, and I'm telling you this from my sources, you can call them that. I have people that know more than me that are plugged into this. That apparently Raul Castro is saying he wants to die in Cuba and he's negotiating for him to stay, but Diaz-Canel to be locked up because the DOJ opened up an investigation, or is saying that they're going to open an investigation for criminal charges against the Cuban political class. But also Trump is signaling a deal with Raul Castro. He's 95 years old, which to me, dude, like you are such a pussy. You're a revolutionary and you're, I don't want to die. I want to die over here. You know, whatever, putting that aside. Yeah, so I don't understand what's going on in Cuba either. And if you go around here in Miami, people are very confused about it too. They're optimistic that the regime will be removed, but I don't really see any sort of logistical explanations from people. Here's what Trump said today here about what it could be.
But he's dealing, and it may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter because they're down to, as they say, fumes. They have no energy. They have no money. They're in deep trouble on a humanitarian basis.
And that's actually true. Let me check his exact age, Mr. Elu. Raul Castro. They are not doing they're not having a great time in Cuba. Raul is 95, dude. He's 94 years old. He's an old guy. So could be friendly, could not be friendly. Lindsey Graham came out here and said this.
Yes to both. We need it. We want the strongest military to end the wars quickly. Look what we're doing here. We've lost 6 soldiers. God bless them. We're devastating the enemy. I'm not looking for a fair fight. If we get in a fight, I want to win it. I want to win it quick. I'm in Miami. You see this hat? Free Cuba. Stay tuned.
Yep.
The liberation of Cuba is upon us. It's just a matter of time now. You see this hat? Make Iran great. President Trump said the only way to make Iran great is for the people to take over. We're marching through the world. We're cleaning out the bad guys. We're going to have relationships with new people that will make us prosperous and safe. I've never seen anybody like it. This is Ronald Reagan plus. Donald Trump is resetting the world in a way nobody could have dreamed of a year ago. He is the greatest commander-in-chief of all time. Our military is the best of all time. Iran is going down, and Cuba is next.
All right. Well, we'll be watching what's next on.
Okay, Lindsey Graham, I'll take your word for it. All right. So Cuba may or may not be going down. Dude, I wish I had better updates, but I don't bullshit on here, so I can't tell you. But what I can tell you is that today Donald Trump went to El Arepaso, which is kind of like, if you're familiar with the restaurant Versailles in Miami, that's like the Cuban hangout for all the exiles, the Cold Warriors and all that. El Arepaso is a newer creation where you can go buy overpriced arepas. Dude, if you want arepas, just fucking email me and I'll tell you how to make them. Don't go buy Venezuelan food. Venezuelan food is the biggest ripoff, and I know this because I grew up on it, because that's what my mom makes. And it's incredibly cheap to make, but the restaurants charge you up the ass for it. Do you know what an arepa is? Cornmeal, corn flour, water, and salt. And they charge you like $12 for that with cheese and beans. No, don't do that. Make them yourself. So he came down here to Doral, which this is like 20 minutes from the Trump Doral, probably even like 15. And he met with the employees here at the El Arepaso. So, you know, some FaceTime with the Venezuelan ladies who make the arepas over here. Okay. Now, what happened here is interesting because there's not a lot of footage about what happened here. This was a meeting with Venezuelan community leaders. I don't know who the fuck those people are, dude. I don't know who those people are. I straight up have no idea. But anyway, Donald Trump over the weekend recognized Delcy Rodriguez as the real leader of Venezuela. But today, apparently, he took a phone call from Corina Machado, who says she's the real president, and said he's a big fan of her and that everyone's a big fan of her here. And she's supposed to be going back to Venezuela soon. So, dude, it's up in the air. Literally no idea.
You have been the best president we have seen in our life.
He's one of the most successful men in Florida, and he did it the hard way, right? I just want to be loyal to you. I know. You always have to.
So that's the meeting with the community leaders. And this was interesting today. I have to add this, where we had the first live reporting from Venezuela in 17 years from Fox Business.
Our own Edward Lawrence is the only American broadcast reporter on the ground there. Hey, Ed.
Yeah, hey, Dagan and Brian, we have our first now real deliverable here in Caracas, Venezuela. The Interior Secretary was in a meeting with the president of Venezuela. She said she is now going to fast track an expanded rare earth mineral law, allowing more U.S. companies to come in and more investments to come in. The interest here has been immense. There were more than 24 representatives from rare earth mineral companies.
So it's not really worth watching the coverage, but it's notable that someone is there. And no, Maria Corina Machado is not my mom, sir. She's not. But my mom's niece knows one of her campaign managers over there. My mom's niece isn't really involved in anything. She's just trying to raise 2 kids. She's a mom, okay? And she knows one of them through a friend or something. And yeah, so dude, I have no updates here for you. It's just more chaos. So I have no idea what's going on. I had everything says Trump. Oh, can I get a Cuban sandwich? I don't think if Trump kind of strikes me as autistic when it comes to food. I don't think he'd really like any of that stuff, you know. But all right, let's get to the main story, man. Great main story, dude. Piers Morgan versus Ben Shapiro, 2 titans of media fighting to the death over Israel. Everyone's in on this Israel thing, man. This has been very, very good to watch today on Twitter, and we're going to see his response. So the reason this is happening, and I have to give you the context, is this. Oh, my mom is a Venezuelan. No, dude, my mom is not a Venezuelan community. My mom was like, dude, she doesn't want anything to do. Well, no, she likes Venezuelans more than me at least, but she's just like, dude, they're all scammers. Like, all of the political class are scammers. She doesn't like anyone really, but she respects Corina Machado at least. Look, Piers Morgan, one of the reasons he says he started Uncensored is because he wanted to be like the Daily Wire. The Daily Wire is valued, I think, at $1 billion. Let's check here on Grok real quick. What is the value of the Daily Wire? This is some crazy shit, dude. TCN is worth so much money too. What is the value of the Daily Wire? Just to give you an accurate figure. 1 billion, of course, unicorn status. All right, so it's huge. That's the reason that Piers started Uncensored, that he got off Good Morning Britain and he decided to take it off of Talk TV and got onto the internet, okay? And he expressed in the past great admiration for Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring for founding the Daily Wire. And that's what he was modeling himself off of. So this is unexpected. What happened is that Ben Shapiro attacked him, and we're going to see that in full context. Before that, I wanted to show you this here. This is the latest out of the Daily Wire. Let's look at Andrew Klavan, who is Jewish, I believe, by birth, but he described himself as an Anglo-Catholic despite not being an Anglo, and I don't even know what an Anglo-Catholic is, like a Catholic guy who's Anglo, but it says it gives him more leeway. I mean, if you're a postmodern Catholic, you're Jewish. Like, that doesn't even make sense. I don't know. I don't know. Let's listen to what he had to say here about the war in Iran, because so you can see how this is heating up.
And the one that I think bothers me the most is using Jesus to make these cases. And I don't want to offend my Catholic friends and listeners. I consider myself a Catholic, though not a Roman Catholic. But the Pope is out of line here. He's just wrong. I mean, I'm sorry. He weighed in on this on X. He says, I am following with deep concern what is happening in the Middle East and in Iran during this tumultuous time. Stability and peace are not achieved through mutual threats, nor through the use of weapons which sow destruction, suffering, and death, but only through reasonable, sincere, and responsible dialogue. And he followed it with this video, cut 8.
Would you imagine what a world without
is that it's girly nonsense, basically. It's just not true. I'm sorry. It's just not true. Sometimes stability and peace are achieved.
I don't understand what he's saying here. You're a Catholic, but not a Roman Catholic. Okay, so you're like a Coptic Catholic or a Lebanese Catholic, Eastern Rites. Are you an ascetic evangelist? You don't believe in the Pope. And I've never understood this thing that people do where they give the Pope a lot of grief. I'm sorry, he's the Pope. What do you want him to do? To come out and say we're going to kill every person? What do you want the Pope to say? He's the Pope. What is the Pope supposed to say? I want to kill everyone? He's a spiritual leader. What is this? This politicization of the Pope, which in Latin America it happens too. What the fuck do you want the Pope to say? I completely support Israel and the United States in this endeavor. He's the Pope. Excuse me. I think the Pope is supposed to be a unifying religious figure that calls for peace. What do you think? Is the Pope like a An AIPAC member? Like, what the fuck do you think the Pope is? And look, I don't always agree with the Pope, but he's the Pope. Like, what are you supposed to do? I don't understand. Ephra says, have you heard of Ted Postel? His analysis is very interesting, but I don't know if he's being biased, to be honest. I am not, Ephra. Let me write that in here. I'll look that up after the show. Dude, someone sent a really cool guy in the Discord today, too, called Marcus. I want to do that. Ted Postel. We'll look into this. Pretty cool. I'll look into it and get back to you, Ephra. You're in the Discord, Ephra, right? Right, everything says, I miss my medieval corrupt popes. Dude, when the Pope was getting pussy back in the middle, I bet Andrew Schultz is a huge fan of that, of the popes that get pussy. Right, and Advanced Conspiracy Theory says the Pope is a person, an actor. Right, I mean, we're all actors to an extent. I don't know if you like don't like the Pope, and that's fine, dude. Like, we accept everyone on here, even though I'm a postmodern Catholic. I don't have an issue with people criticizing the Pope. But, like, what is the Pope supposed to do, right? Like, he's a person. Like, what the fuck is he supposed to do? Supposed to say, hey, kill everyone? Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right. So that's what's coming out of the Daily Wire, just so you have an idea of the jingoistic nature, all right? And Piers Morgan today, let's go through his Twitter. This is great. And this is not gossip, man. We're looking at this because, all right, let me explain it real quick to tell you why it's not gossip. We're doing something important here. Israel is now unpopular with Americans. 40% of Americans are not happy with Israel. Or maybe it's 60. I don't remember the way it went. But it's pretty near half or above half, okay? And Piers Morgan, who we always watch on this show because, you know.
Say the M word, go on.
Piers Morgan is a guy who's always ahead of the trends, right? He's always ahead of the trends. And he was a big Israel defender in the early days of October 7th, and since then he has turned more critical. And now he's willing to sever his relationship with Ben Shapiro, who doesn't go on his show anymore, but he's actually able to sever it, showing that side, the anti-Israel side, is ascendant in terms of clicks and views, which is important because that's public sentiment. And to sever something like this is important, all right? So let's look at his Twitter. A media scoop in Deal Book, Rashida Jones, ex-president of MSNBC, is now CEO of Piers Morgan's budding YouTube empire. This is important on the business side, so you can see Piers getting more serious. Breaking big news about Piers Morgan Uncensored. This is a big deal. Piers is hiring someone from the media. A lot of people are saying, why would he want someone from the dead media? I'm sure Piers Morgan knows who's effective and who's not. He had the best agent in Hollywood called John Federer for a long time. So I'm not going to short Piers. Here we have, this is the start of it. Piers posted this picture of him with Ben Shapiro. It says, if you come for the British King, Ben Shapiro, you best not miss, because Ben Shapiro is short. So he had this Photoshop. This doesn't look like AI. I think he Photoshopped this. Tiny Ben Shapiro with big Piers Morgan. Tiny Ben Shapiro. I don't know. She's Quincy Jones' daughter, sir. Tiny Ben Shapiro. All right, so you get it. Here we have Dave Smith, one of my least favorite people, because here is the video that we're going to watch next where he said, literally, he said that Ben Shapiro is a propagandist for Israel. I'm a journalist. You are a propagandist. And Dave Smith quotes here, said, brilliant response to Ben Shapiro here by Piers Morgan. Dave Smith, you know, I'm not gonna hold this against Piers that Dave Smith endorsed it. All right. And he got into a little kerfuffle here with Dave Rubin, who tweeted, I explained to Piers Morgan to his face why I don't do his panel shows anymore, because they're trying to couch it as I don't like you because of the Jerry Springer aspect.
I will be completely, totally honest with you. About 8 months ago, I basically said to myself, I don't want to do Piers' show anymore because the way the debates go, all of the people, the screaming, the lunatics, the jank, and these awful people, where you have a certain set of people largely on the right who come on that are thoughtful and can explain their ideas, and Wajat and all these nutbags. And I really swore it off. And then I did do it again. I did it the day after Charlie died, and I had to demolish jank the way I did with receipts. But I view it now as it's adding flame. It's just adding fuel to the fire.
I actually don't hate this from Dave Rubin. He probably just got embarrassed, but you don't want to raise your cortisol going on Piers Morgan. But I would do it. That'd be funny. So he said, I explained to Piers Morgan why I don't do his panel shows anymore. And Piers said, you won't ever be doing my show again in any capacity. Total severance. Total severance. This is a Daily Wire ally over here, Dave Rubin. All right. And here we have the biggest thread, which is important. Here is where it starts. Megyn Kelly is being quote tweeted here where she says, in which Piers Morgan responds to Ben Shapiro's attack on him, noting Ben has turned into the same cancel culture vulture spitting, searing intolerance that Kamala Harris is, and all over Ben's favorite and most important issue, how supportive one is of Israel. This guy, Joel Mowbray, who's a Zionist, I assume, says Megyn Kelly has responded after Tucker Carlson said U.S. soldiers might, quote, rape Iranian women in victory, blamed Chabad for the Iran war, and warned of a secret plot to destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque to bring about end times. She attacked Ben Shapiro, over Israel. All right. This was quoted by Dave Rubin that says, pretty sure Megyn got some Botox in her brain. And Piers would sell his mother to a jihadist for a click. Strong words. He said, wow, 4 months ago, I drove out to do Rubin's podcast at his home in Miami as a personal favor because he's done my show many times. I wonder if he saw Rubin's kids. I thought we were friends. How wrong could I be? What a treacherous little weasel. Being Netanyahu's useful idiot has sent him and Shapiro's nuts. What? Bethany says, if you want people to stop calling you an anti-Semite, please try criticizing a Jew without accusations of dual loyalty. Just try. And he said, what does this nonsense even mean? I've only criticized the Israeli government when it has deserved it. That's not anti-Semitism, it's journalism. Which I think everyone is coming around to, man. Like, if someone were to accuse me once I had my Spanish passport, if I started saying, maybe we should be a little nicer to Spain, is that an anti-Spanish canard? I don't know, dude. I'm not Jewish. I don't know how it works. Whatever. That's besides the point. Let's watch Piers' response. This is great stuff. Ephra, the thing is, I don't see it as gossip because I think it's more important. This is beyond culture war in the sense of the public perception of Israel. And I don't know how this will affect policy, if at all, because I want to take this in context. We're going to cover it more with the SAVE Act, which is being proposed to make it so you have to take your birth certificate to vote, where people who are going to be able to vote it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem because this energy that is moving up here, would translate to the electorate, but I'm not sure because if Piers Morgan is ahead of the curve and he's saying that he wants to be anti-Israel because that's where the clicks are, that's where the right ideas are, the right ideas. It's journalism, it's a show. Then it does mean it could translate to something in the real world. But I respect you, Ephra. Maybe it's just my autism here in regards to this stuff, but I think it's a little important. What do I think of the current leader of Spain? I completely support him in all his endeavors because he's going to make me a citizen. Kurt Boss says, look, you Cuban peasant Nazis so proud of being wealthy. You're the worst traitors of all time. Oh, I'm not Cuban, so I don't know what that means, Kurt, but all right. All right, let's get back over here. I get it, Ephra. I get it. Ephra, I completely respect it. I completely respect it. Completely. Let's see here what this is.
He's undoubtedly an intelligent and influential commentator. Ben Shapiro is undoubtedly...
Hang on. We forgot to play us in here for Piers Watch. Where is it?
Hang on. No, sorry. I hear you and I accept that and we'll leave it there. Thank you all very much. Say the M word. Go on.
All right. Let's watch Piers here do a dissection of Ben Shapiro. This is short, by the way.
Ben Shapiro is undoubtedly an intelligent and influential commentator. I've always liked and respected him, even when we disagree. And I still do. He's stridently partisan and staunchly conservative, of course, but he's willing to criticise Trump and others in the administration when he thinks they've got it wrong. Well, one thing he doesn't criticise, however, is Israel, and he routinely gets very upset when other people do. It's such a blind spot for Ben that through the red mist of his rage, he sees an alternate reality where anybody who disagrees with him is a demonic, America-hating terror apologist who can only possibly be doing it for ratings. And it was brought to my attention that he was very upset about a debate last week featuring Dave Smith.
So last night on Piers Morgan, which is the Jerry Springer of political television, where people gather to throw chairs at one another and determine paternity. Piers Morgan, who has sort of made a mockery of the entire industry by putting on screen,
Oh, Piers Morgan did this? What about Ben Shapiro owns college student? What about that? What? Dude, we are the circulation of the grifter elite. What? This guy started slop. If we had a way of tracking slop, Ben Shapiro started slop.
Whatever dregs are still willing to go on screen with Piers Morgan.
Kurt, I see your comments. Yes, we know that. That's why we watch him. That's why we watch Piers Morgan, to get value out of it. That's why we do it.
He had on Dave Smith, who has, apparently his job is never to tell jokes, but to instead give poorly informed foreign policy takes. And also to hate America. Here we go.
Well, first, Jerry Springer was a very good friend of mine, and he was a beloved national treasure who actually hosted one of the most successful shows in television history and became a media mogul worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So thank you for that comparison.
This man, bro, this is.
That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of fucking money.
Just flexing on them hoes. Flexing on them. Yeah, I knew Jerry Springer. Mr. Shapiro. I worked with Jerry Springer, Mr. Shapiro. You, sir, are no Jerry Springer.
Ben. Second, we proudly host lively debates on things that people care about, featuring guests that people care about, to cover both sides of complex news stories in an engaging way. Do the debates sometimes get a bit combative? Yes. Do audiences tend to enjoy a bit of theatrical rough and tumble? Of course they do. That's why the Daily Wire, Ben's company, has an entire political debate show which is literally called Bar Fight. That's why Ben's own show features hard-hitting segments including Ben Shapiro destroys celebrity ice reactions. Ben Shapiro destroys the Golden Globes. Ben Shapiro reacts to woke TikToks.
Call him out, King. Call him. Dude, this is literally that Godzilla scene, like Let Them Fight. The sloppies are fighting each other. The slop merchants are fighting each other. What?
Ben Shapiro reacts to woke socialist TikToks. Ben Shapiro reacts to woke religious TikToks. And when it comes to humiliating the industry, please tell me why the Pulitzer Prize Committee did not reward Mr. Shapiro for this masterpiece.
What the Run.
I know people are watching the Daily Wire, but I don't watch it, so I don't know. I'm learning this now through Piers. What the hell are you talking about? Like, what? Who? How can you subscribe to the Daily Wire? How can it be $1 billion company? Who watches that? Setting Barbies on fire. That seems like it's made for children, but I assume Ben Shapiro's audience skews older. How can you subscribe to that?
Could say that makes a mockery of the industry. Third, I want to examine the charge that I've committed a sin against journalism by hosting what Ben Shapiro describes as whatever dregs are still willing to appear on my show. Well, on the subject of Iran and US foreign policy specifically, recent guests have included Masih Alinejad, Lisa Daftari, Patrick Bet-David, Carla Sands, Rob O'Neill.
PBD. That's crazy you threw PBD in there, dude. Elika Laban, Eric Weinstein,
Goldie Gamari, Jonathan Conricus, Alan Dershowitz, Alika Laban, Ambassador John Bolton, General Wesley Clark, General Mark Kimmett, a former UN prosecutor accusing Iran of mass murder, Ambassador Mike Huckabee, former Vice President Mike Pence, Eric Weinstein, Josh Hammer, former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, and the IDF spokesman Nadav Shoshani. Now, it's unlikely that Ben is talking about any of these people because they are either vehemently pro-Israel or to some extent they are supportive of a...
And there we see the division. Where we're saying here, this is pretty wild. Like literally saying you support them because they support Israel. And that's where the dual loyalty... I've never understood this dual loyalty thing. Because... how can it be a canard if it's criticized from everyone? I've been criticized for being a citizen of Chile. People are like, if you love Chile so much, why do you move there? And it's like, well, dude, you should be doing your best to get another passport in case shit goes down. You should. Unironically, you probably should. But I love this country. This is the only thing I believe in. I believe in America. So just don't get it. Ephra says, doesn't Piers live in the US? Why does he still have a British accent? No, he's in London. He splits time between LA and New York and London, but he's mostly in London. And I know that because I cyberstalk Piers. I'm watching where he is every day because someday I'm going to run into him here in Miami. And I'm going to be like, Piers, you're my hero.
Attacking Iran to destroy its regime. It's also unlikely he's talking about, say, Michael Knowles or Isabel Brown, who make very valuable contributions to the show on a regular basis and do, of course, work alongside Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire. So what is he really talking about? Well, we know he doesn't like Dave Smith and flat out refuses to debate him, which strikes me as pretty cowardly. You can make up your own minds about why he refuses. And what Ben really takes issue with is that among the many guests supporting his worldview, and specifically supporting Israel, we also invite many people who don't support his worldview and don't support the Israeli government.
Take Piers Morgan, of course, suggesting the only reason that I was not appearing on his show anymore was his criticism of Israel, which is weird because I appeared on his show for literally months after October 7th, even though he was already critical of Israel. And I really haven't said anything on Piers or about Piers or to Piers for probably a year. I just stopped appearing on his show. Why? Well, honestly, he kept bringing on actual Nazis and the Nazi adjacent and then treated them all too often as voices worthy of a large audience. Like, for example, these people.
I believe that Jewish supremacy is the greatest threat to America, and I think it's the greatest threat to the world today. I truly believe that.
You think Hitler was very cool?
Yes, I do.
What does Nazi adjacent mean? You're half a Nazi? I'm pregnant adjacent. What does that mean?
One of them. And I'm tired of pretending he's not.
It's going to be the headlines tomorrow. Piers Morgan, Israel is ISIS.
Only amongst people who weren't listening.
That's how I feel about those young men in Gaza. You ask me why I...
Isn't this guy literally Jewish? Isn't Finkelstein literally... I don't want to judge here. Like, I don't want to project... Isn't Norman Finkelstein literally Jewish? Didn't his parents die in the Holocaust or something?
Won't condemn them. Because those young men were born into a concentration camp.
You don't think they
Israel
have?
has been a terrorist state. Okay, Israel right now is imparting a genocide and a Holocaust on the Gazan people.
Listen, it's Piers' choice who he decides to have on his show and how he decides to conduct the kind of clown car battle royale that he does on his show every night. And it's my choice not to join that circus. We all make our choices and we all live with them, but some of us...
Thank you, Mr. Ealing. Your wife is pregnant. Good. Congratulations, sir. Hope you have a healthy baby.
Make our choices based on, actual principles and not the clicks.
Well, the last time Ben Shapiro appeared on Uncensored to discuss Israel's war on Hamas specifically was in March 2024, at which time I was being accused on a daily basis of being a paid-up Israeli shill. He lacks the self-awareness to realise that many pro-Palestine contributors got very angry with our show for hosting so-called genocide enablers like him. That's exactly why I'm not partisan and don't want to be. There is more than one view on any emotive or consequential subject. You can't possibly know you are right if you don't know what the other side thinks. That's precisely why free speech exists as a principle we all defend. And when it comes to principles, as Mr. Shapiro puts it, I'd remind him that I've left several high-profile jobs over my principles. Principles like my views on gun control and my belief that criticising a princess is an essential right. I give my opinions about everything based on the information I have at the time, and I change my views when facts change. Some people might find that highly irritating, but it's because I'm not an ideologue, and I never will be. Ben Shapiro calls our debate a clown show circus, and that's fine. He's perfectly entitled to his opinion. Many people do choose to watch Uncensored, including clearly Ben Shapiro.
I like how Piers spun his opinion changing as facts come available. But he's always ahead of the curve. He's always ahead.
It's ironic that the clips he showed were not from our so-called battle royale debates, but from long-form one-on-one interviews, which we do a lot of the time. And it's outrageously disingenuous that the clips he showed did not include the parts of those interviews where I called out every single one of them about things I didn't agree with. His montage of the same interviews could have looked like this. You sound like a Nazi.
I mean, Why do you say that?
That's literally what Nazis would have said in World War II. You think if half your family had been wiped out by very fucking cool Hitler, you'd still think he was very fucking cool? Or would you think that actually he was a despicable monster who murdered 12 million people? The comparison, which is more apposite, is ISIS and Hamas. They are both nihilistic terror groups intent on killing as many Jewish people and others as they can possibly kill. That's not true.
As the numbers, okay.
It's just not true.
Piers.
Well, Professor, with respect.
Okay, I'm not going to.
It's not true.
Piers. Yeah, but you have to listen to what I say.
But you want me to believe you when you say you weren't aware of the scale of this for several days. I find that just, I'm incredulous that you want me to believe that.
This country, which was formed in 1948 by pretending to be...
Kurt, I see your chats here, but Kurt, I would tell you, I don't think Piers is motivated by his paymasters. I think Piers is motivated by clout as well as whatever is selling. That's a little bit different. I don't think that Piers... And that's why he's very, very good at what he does. Piers was against the Iraq War from the start. He kind of led that movement. He printed out banners for the Daily Mirror to do it. Then, he came over here, did the anti-gun control thing because it made him money. And it got him clout, obviously made him more famous, did Dancing with the Stars, did America's Got Talent. And then he, now he's just, I don't see him motivated by people paying him directly. It's just he's always ahead of the curve. He's always saying, what is going to be the next shift in public opinion? How is this going to work? Especially now, because Mr. Elo's pointing that out, like he left, I think he made another deal to get back on Talk TV, but I think that what Murdoch saw in Piers is what a lot of people see in him now, but Piers is just like a really, really good reader of trends, and that makes it so that, yeah, you're saying he has no morality. I don't think there's a lot of that anywhere. He's just ahead of the curve. He's just trying to get the most clout, get the biggest platform.
Refugees, if you will, and being invited into the homes of Palestinians, the horrific story.
Well, they weren't
of what
pretending to be refugees. They were people fleeing a Holocaust. You can take the view, as many do, that interviewing people with extreme opinions is pointless. You can stick your head in the sand like an ostrich or hide behind your very big desk and wish they didn't have an audience, but they do. My view is that they already speak unfiltered to large audiences, and whether you like it or not, and at least on my show, these audiences get to see them being challenged. Ben Shapiro used to make a mockery of deplatforming when the person being deplatformed was Ben Shapiro, usually by shrieking protesters on woke campuses. But his uncompromising views on Israel and America's military and political support for Israel have turned him into a cancel culture vulture with the very same sneering intolerance he used to loathe. If you disagree with him, you're a Nazi, he says, channeling Kamala Harris. Everybody knows my position on Israel. I vehemently defended Israel's right to respond and defend itself after October the 7th. I became increasingly critical of Israel because its government's actions in Gaza became impossible to defend. We don't need to relitigate all of that now. But as Dave Smith correctly points out, it's not just me. Polling shows the American people have turned against Israel and its government in particular for precisely the same reasons. If Ben listened to some of the arguments instead of just throwing tantrums about them, he might understand why. Just as I continue to host people who defend Israel's conduct in Gaza when many people wish I wouldn't and say I shouldn't, Ben Shapiro does. He, of course, has my phone number and my email address. He could have discussed his differences with me in private, which I would have preferred. But he hasn't bothered to even politely reply to my occasional messages for a very long time now, oddly, since the very moment I started criticising the Israeli government. And he chooses to get on his own podcast and throw pathetic pot shots at me instead. So let me use my platform to respond directly. The difference between me and you, Ben, is that I'm heavily criticised by both sides because I listen to both sides, and very often I criticise both sides too, without fear or favour. You're only criticised by one side because you choose to air only one side and you choose to ignore or even silence the other. I'm a journalist. You are a propagandist. Oh, and facts don't care about your feelings. Say the M word. Go on.
And there we have it, folks. I think that what this means is that we are going to see a lot more normalization of an anti-Israel message. We've already seen it on social media in a distributed sense, with the rise of X being unfiltered and all this. But I think that this is going to get increasingly common to say, and there's two ways of reading it. The first one is the more naive one, that this is going to result in some sort of policy change. I mean, maybe, I don't know. But regardless, the second one is the one that I find more interesting, which is, what is the purpose of this? Like, why are people allowed to say this kind of stuff now? Because only a few years ago, you would get in real trouble for this. Now you're Kamala Harris. When did Kamala Harris become an insult? What she wanted to do was bring some joy. You think you fell out of a coconut tree, and now we see that this is going to become a popular or a normal thing to say. And I don't know if it's a pressure release valve. Obviously, it's going to get more clicks if you're on this side than the other. But is there going to be a rise of a purity test? And also, is our boy Piers back? Is he back? He's been slacking since he got killed by that Fuentes interview. But now he's willing to start up beefs. He's willing to fight with people. So I don't know. Like, you could take it in a couple directions, but I'm more inclined to think that it's a pressure release valve. I really don't see the United States changing its foreign policy and its support for Israel anytime soon. I think that would be very difficult. I don't see that happening at all, man. I really don't. I think at best you probably get some sort of like Jimmy Carter type of thing. But even then, it's the continuity, the long arc of history bends towards the United States supporting Israel. Because in a lot of ways, they have been joined at the hip from the start since at least 1948. And, I'm not saying that in an anti-Semitic way. I'm just saying that in a way of like these two states, they share information, they spy on each other, they treat their spies with decency. So I don't really understand what it means, Interesting stuff. Mr. Ulysses Bajrov was a Marxist. He actually did not die a Marxist, sir. He was a Marxist for a bit, but the anecdote is very funny because he went into like the French Communist Party meeting or something where he met with the top guy, and he saw that they were using like Coca-Cola marketing material in order to try to market communism, and he was like, God damn, the simulation got Marxism too. This is all fake. Like, he was like, it's all fake. Like, it's a really interesting anecdote. If you look it up, how he stopped being a Marxist. By the end of it, he didn't identify with anything, which I really like, very interesting. So, and I saw Eves mention that Piers and Trump have been tight forever. So I'm not surprised. They did do interviews together. I don't remember the last one. He did them on CNN with him. He's done a couple of them, but they're still very tight, Eves. But I'm not sure what the role of the Iraq War played in their friendship. I think that Trump just sees Piers as a kindred spirit in that sense. Like, they are the very, very similar people, which is, undeniably true. Let me see this here. Robert. Is this on YouTube? How can you say that this was messed up? That Kamala Harris. Here we go.
Basis.
What is this Kamala hate? All she was doing was bringing us joy from the coconut tree. One more time. This is all she was trying to do. Where did Kamala Harris become an insult? Do some people think the apple's not rotten to the core? Like, what is the, Let's catch with some of the chats and we'll get out of here. I'll be back tomorrow. Efra says, they use emotional manipulation to divide and conquer. That is why the culture war is BS. Absolutely, Efra. That's true. No, because it's good to see where the culture war is going so that you don't get, when someone at the grocery store approaches you and tries to talk your ear off about it, But it's obviously all like, I don't want to say psyops, but smoke and mirrors. Like people are not capable of critical thinking, and that's not their fault. It's just, as I said in my video, let me bring up my video from today, guys. Let me do that. I wanted to show you guys. I was very happy. My producer is the one who came up with this expression. You go to my home now. Yeah, this is it. Let me show you this. This is how I'm going to talk to people that find the channel now.
And if you're here, it's probably because you've made it to the end of the Truman Show. Please sit down, settle in. We've been waiting for you. Take a seat. We have great popcorn to enjoy the next part of the show, where we get to see Jim Carrey become homeless and miserable. How are you doing today?
Once you make it to the end of the Truman Show, go like the video, guys. This came out today. This is a good video as a primer for the channel. It's called The Truman Show Ends Here. To clarify some of my ideas and some of Baudulard's ideas, I can't take credit for everything. I made it really basic, and I'm going to make a couple more explainers like this, maybe like 6 or 7 more. But yeah, absolutely, Ephra. I just think that it's worth looking at in order to see where the people are going to go in terms of their opinion. Kayfabe, ACT, that's a good word. You should know that one. You got to watch some professional wrestling. Thank you, Kurt. Despite our rocky beginnings, I'm gonna make a video about Miami Cubans, dude. I've been seeing them get a lot of hate on the internet, and my theory on this is, I don't know, I'll give you guys a preview. I really think that the reason that people hate Miami Cubans, because I have a lot of reverence for them, is because they built some shit that actually works, which is Miami. They built a city. Can the Turks say that? Can Hassan say that about his people? Can the Persians say that? They came here. It was a swamp, and they built it. And Miami Venezuelans get some hate too. And it's like they came here, and they built a city called Doral, which is now internationally known and important. So I really don't get it. Like, some people are like, their political opinions or something, and I'm like, where's the empathy here? Like, these are people who have been used and abused by the American government, if you want to take it that way, which is the way I see it. How are you doing, Full Hat? And like, why are you doing that? Leotardism. Full Hat says you should be talking about the fundamentals of terrorism, Leo. That is what is reality. Well, Full Hat, when YouTube changes its policies about the... Full Hat, do you want me to come out here and do a video about how to do terrorism? Is that what you're suggesting is good for the channel? I'm not going to do that, Full Hat. Baudrillard had some great takes on terrorism, but I don't think that that's very good for YouTube. So, Scarface is a great movie, man. Scarface is one of my favorites. Absolutely. All right, guys. Bread and Circus, absolutely. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you're new here, like, comment, and subscribe to make sure that you're not a bot. Go like the new video. We have a new video coming out tomorrow about Professor Jiang. I'm gonna get a lot of pushback again. Dude, you should see the comments. You guys want to see this shit real quick? Let's look at this. Is so fucking funny, man. They got so mad, the Professor Jiang fans. Where is it? Here it is. Look at this shit, man. This is hilarious.
Professor Jiang.
No. Screw the video. Look at this. Look at this here. Look at this. 205 comments, dude. He's a Yale graduate scammer uploading free lectures on... This is something that I noticed, and I said it in the video today, man. Or the one I shot today, is people think that grifting is just for money. Like, people are so material in this world that they don't realize you can be grifted for something much more valuable than money. Game the algorithm, absolutely, Afro. All professors on YouTube are scammers, is a silly generalization. He's suspect, but I had some good comments too. Nice opinion, but you're Jewish, which I just responded, I'm not Jewish, but my drip is real. Have a nice Purim. I forgot what this was. It's just, dude, like, they're just so mad. They're so mad. You're such a yapper. Yeah, you're a yapper. You're commenting. This is crazy stuff, man. Like, it's just, they're so mad. They're so mad. Rage bait, debate with ideas. Dude, people get so mad. It's crazy. So funny. I really love making this kind of video. A couple series incoming. Boy, says, you know exactly what I'm talking about, Leo. You even said I educated you on what terrorism was. You did help me realize that the definitions are a lot more fluid than I thought, sir. Why would I talk about that on YouTube, sir? I mean, I'm gonna get flagged. They just threw a bomb at the mayor in New York. Why would I do that? You know. Dude, the glasses, man. Tomorrow's video, you're gonna see a whiteboard. It's great. I went full. I didn't wear the glasses again, but I did the whiteboard. You're gonna love it. It's so good. It's a lot of fun. So like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you, Full Hat, coming in near the end with that fire. And again, shows are canceled from Wednesday onward. But we'll have videos because my handlers have called me to Colombia to make sure the election turns out exactly as we need them to be. So when you see those election results, rest assured that I was involved. I'll update you guys from over there. See you guys then.
Change the world. My final message.